I think we're live now. Hey name tags and welcome. This is Ash from Heal My Tech. I hope you can hear me fine. I just have a bit of a mishap. I thought I started, but it clearly did not start. This is Ash from Heal My Tech. If you're new on this channel, I want to help you develop a better relationship with technology. So find a subscribe button somewhere, consider subscribing, click the bell icon, and also if we have Amazon affiliate link in the description below, please use them. Hello Jatin Prasad, hello, welcome, and whoever else is here. I've got, oh my, I did a wrong start earlier. So let me explain how this live session is going to work. I did this last week. We're going to keep this as a weekly thing, same time. That's Thursdays, 5 p.m. UK time, and it's going to be 12 p.m. EST, right? So every week I'm going to take one part of the Troubleshoot A Desktop series, and then I'm going to be answering your question live. Okay, welcome Jatin. Thank you so much for your support. Feel free to comment down as I'm talking, and we'll have a conversation later. Right, so last week we started with the troubleshoot intro part, which was explaining how a computer works, the boot up sequence, and also the 10 parts you need to know to be able to troubleshoot your computer not working. Right, so every week we'll take one part. So the first section will be me playing you back the today's part, which is going to be part 1, and that's to do with the computer case. I'm going to play you a summarized version of the video. We've removed all the fluff so that people know the context of today's video. Then we're going to have a brief chat, and in the second part I'm going to go through the questions of that video and answer them as best as possible. And feel free to input your answers if you know them. In the third part, I'm going to play you another short video, which is a skit of a really cringy skit we did about 2 years ago, is to try and explain to people they are asking questions the wrong way all the time. So it's not helpful. So I'm going to play you that short skit to kind of educate people how they should be asking questions. And I'm hoping I can get your input. If you have ever participated in the comments below, you can help other people to kind of understand they should not be asking silly short questions. They should be giving a lot of details. Okay, and then last but not least, we're going to be answering your live questions in this stream if you have any. So hopefully that should be it. So we'll keep this weekly. Tune in and share. So let me play you the first little video. It's about 10-12 minutes. That will give you the context. So we're talking about the computer case, and there are two main scenarios. Okay, either your computer is not turning on at all, or it turns on but it gets stuck in a boot loop, and that might be to do with your computer case. So I will speak to you again in about 12 minutes, and let's just play this, and then we are gonna get cracking. So that's a display, and let me off that. Even if you're not tech savvy, the following first tips can be done by anyone even before you contact any tech expert. The first one being the legendary switch off, unplug, and then wait for a few seconds and turn it back on. Now this per se is not really a fix, but it works in mysterious ways. On your computer case, there's also a reset button usually, and you can press that. It will reset your system. Sometimes it might work. There's one last thing you could do, which is called a hard reset, or you could discharge all the static electricity which was built up in your computer. And the way to do this is to switch off the device from the back, and you unplug the power cable and unplug as many devices as possible, and then you are going to press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds. 30 seconds is much better. This does work in terms of hard resetting the whole system if your problem isn't kind of power related. Okay, so these first general troubleshooting tips is like shooting blind and hoping you hit your target. Hey, if it works, don't question it. So the first part that I mentioned was the actual case itself. And yes, the outer enclosure can cause problems in two main scenarios. So number one, the case can cause your computer not turning on at all. And number two, the case could cause your computer to be stuck in a boot loop, which means that it would try to turn on and then switches off. You'll see some signs of life like fan spinning, LED, etc., but it will turn off and may be stuck in a restart loop continuously. So we're going to deal with both of these cases.
Now this is troubleshooting 101. Many problems can be diagnosed by simply accessing inside of a device. So if you open it and have a look, there usually are a lot you can tell just by having a visual inspection. Many people, they will actually look for things like loose cables, right? Just have a quick check and have a quick tug and just plug things back if you think they're loose, or you could even just unplug things and put them back. That seems to work sometimes, right? Some people will, take off the RAM by opening these tabs, and they do what's called reseating. So you take the RAM sticks out and reseat them, or you could even try different slots. So you could do a few of these kind of general troubleshooting. So we mentioned two main scenarios why your case could cause your computer not to turn on, or turning on but stuck in a boot loop. Now the first scenario is to do with power but not with the power supply per se, and that scenario means that you're getting power into the power supply and into the motherboard, and you can often see evidence of this. Like in this motherboard, there is an LED light that if there is power, and you should be able to see some lights. Okay, so that indicates that power is coming in. However, when you're pressing the front button, nothing's happening. The computer doesn't turn on. So what it means is like all the power is coming through the back, but there is a connection from the front panel which connects to two pins on the motherboard, and that activates the whole computer. So in a case like this, here's the main switch, the front one. So if you press it, it looks a bit similar to this, and there's a switch here which is hiding behind the button on the front panel, and when you press it, on the other end, it's connected by two terminals, right? And these two terminals, they connect to two pins on the motherboard for the power. So when you're pressing it, it closes the circuit and tells the computer there's a closed circuit, so power gets through, and then the computer should turn on. Now, just based on the front bit, on the front panel button, there are 4 possible situations why your computer might not be turning on. So number 1, this button here, the power button, could actually be broken or stuck. In fact, this one is actually a little bit stuck. When I'm pressing, I can feel there's a bit of resistance, right? So that could just indicate that this power bit, this button, is not working properly. Number 2, you're gonna have this cable which is connecting to the motherboard, and anywhere between the first end and the other end, or even the whole cable, right, or the two extremities are broken. It's not functioning properly. So that could also mean your computer will not turn on. Number 3, which is very common, is the bit that plugs onto the motherboard has been plugged into the wrong pins. It could have been plugged into a power LED pin or a hard drive LED pin instead. And it doesn't matter how many times you're going to press, nothing's going to happen, it's not going to turn on. And number 4, which is a bit more difficult to diagnose, is the actual pins on the motherboard themselves are broken. So those are the 4 main reasons why your computer may not turn on, although you may have power from the back, and you can see evidence with an LED light, for example, on the motherboard itself, if you have an LED light. We're not here talking about what if the motherboard is dead. This is a video for a different episode coming up in the series. So how do you test for this though? It's quite simple, and there are 2 ways to do this. The first thing you need to do is you need to open the front panel and have a look. And on this type of cheap end models, there are tabs inside which you need to press, and hopefully the front panel will come off. The lower end models are quite difficult to do, right? The higher end models, you could literally just kind of grab from the bottom and pull out. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that to show you. All right, so these bits are coming off. This is the cable which is similar to this one, okay, and it plugs to the other end of the motherboard, and I'll show you on the motherboard where it plugs in. And you have here something called PWRSW. It's the power switch. I'm actually using a different cable. It's written on the reset SW for the reset switch. It doesn't matter because this works the same way. It's just that if it was in a computer, this would be plugged in the reset button instead of the power button, right? So do bear that in mind. Also, the orientation of this doesn't matter. You could plug in positive to negative or negative to positive. It will still work. So we'll just do that. Now, you can buy these cables. off eBay or Amazon. I actually got this one from an old desktop which was dead anyway, so it's quite handy to keep these. Right, so the way to do this now, what you need to do to eliminate the possibility of the front switch and the cable being a problem, you're going to get a different cable, plug it in, you're going to turn the power switch on, and already we can see there's LED light here, so which is good news. And then you're just going to press the switch, and there you go. So we have movement in our fan spinning, and hopefully if everything is okay, you should see something on the screen. Yeah, there you go. So if previously you were pressing the button in the front and nothing was happening, but you took it out and you did this test, that just means that the power button in the front or the cable is broken. Problem solved, right? All you need to do is buy one and replace that. Now don't worry about this, it says CMOS setting wrong. This is to do with the battery. This is a different story. We're not trying to boot up at the moment. We're just trying to test for whether we can turn the computer on. Okay, I'm going to switch that off. A second way you could actually turn this on if you don't have a cable is you do what's called shorting. You're going to need something like a screwdriver, a conductive metallic part on one end, and hopefully, please remember, a non-conductive part on the other end, because you're going to need to create a bridge between the two pins on the board. Essentially, we call that shorting, and that should turn it on. Okay, so watch. So you're going to locate the two pins which says PWRSW, stands for power switch. And again, I'm going to turn it back on from the back, power supply, and then I'm just going to touch these two, and there you go, it's turned on once again. And that is a way to be able to do this. Okay, so again, that will tell you that the front button or the cable was a problem. Bear in mind, this is quite difficult to do if this motherboard is inside the case. As you can tell here, this is just here for demonstration. I've actually breadboarded, this is what we call it when you take out the motherboard, it's called breadboarding, separated, and I've connected only the graphics card, the power supply, and the monitor, mouse and keyboard, and there's nothing else. There's not even a disk drive on this. We're just trying to check whether it turns on or not trying to boot up right now. Please, if you do need to do this, you can do this inside the case. A bit difficult, especially for smaller case. Space is very tight, so I would advise taking this out. Now let's talk about scenario number 2, which means you turn the switch on from the back, there is power coming in, you press the power button and it boots up. You see fans spinning, you see some LED lights, but it stops after a few seconds, and then maybe it would restart again, whatever it does. Now, that, yes, could indicate a problem with the power supply or the motherboard, but we'll talk about this in another video. But for now, can the case cause the problem? Yes, it can. Now, if you have a small debris, like a metallic debris, inside the case stuck somewhere, it can also be something like a screw. What that's going to do is, if you remember, I talked about in my last video that in the post, when the processor is trying to initialize and it's looking for things, it's also looking for the right voltage. And if that debris or screw is somewhere causing a short, then it will not boot up because it will deem the computer not to be safe. It's trying to self-protect. So it may just keep restarting, or it may just switch off, right? Again, how are you going to know this? Well, not easily known unless you take the motherboard out again, because you need to find out if there is a screw somewhere stuck. And another scenario where you could be stuck in a start loop because of the case would be, and if you remember in my last video, again, I talk about standoffs at the bottom of the case, and those could have been wrongly put, and somehow the motherboard and the standoff and the case is having the wrong contact. It's happened to me before, especially when you migrate a computer component from one case to another. So there is a short being caused because it's wrongly grounded. Yeah, there is contact between the motherboard and the case. Again, you're going to have to take the motherboard out to test for that. There's no other way of telling. To give you a very practical example, in one video I did, check the link up there, we had a USB device over current status detected problem, which was causing the computer not to boot up properly. It was stuck on this message, and in that video we found out that the front USB was damaged, and that was plugged onto the motherboard, and that was causing the computer not to boot up properly. So all we did was we unplugged the damaged USB port, and the problem was fixed. although technically it doesn't really come part of a computer case, but rather it's a secondary device like a USB port, but it was preventing the computer to boot up. So a different troubleshooting could also mean that when you do unplug everything from a case, you start to plug one thing at a time, the essential stuff, and you restart every time until you find what's causing your computer not to boot up. So there you have it, some scenarios where your case could be responsible for your computer not turning on or not booting up properly. I do understand it might be difficult for some of you to take the motherboard out, but it is necessary if the other troubleshooting we'll talk about is going to fail.
All right then, so I hope that was clear. We are talking here essentially about the case, only the case, because if the case is causing these issues, then you can't test anything else, because obviously it's stopping your computer from getting a post or even booting up into your operating system. And if you've got any questions on that, you feel free to ask now before we move to the second part, which is going to be essentially answering the questions from that video. I'm checking the chat section. I don't see anything, so we might just move to the questions and comments from the last video. And feel free, if you know the answer to any of these questions, feel free to also participate. All right, so let's get cracking. Number one question is from Matthew McLaughling. Okay, and he says, thank you, this video was very helpful, but your channel page is a nightmare to navigate, especially if you're trying to find one of the follow-up videos in this series. I do apologize for that, Matthew, if you're watching. I had a bit of an issue trying to make some sort of sense in my playlist, but since then I have done two things. One, I have reduced the number of playlists on my channel, so if you go to my home page, you should be able to see that there's a playlist section, and it's a lot smaller. Okay, and second thing which I did at the in the description of every video, I have put, like you can see on your screen right now, there is the full series list with also each part clearly identified, so you can just click and go to the exact part that you need to troubleshoot the whatever part you're looking for. I hope that helps, and I've done this for every single video in the series. If there's any problem, let me know. Okay, alrighty then, let's move on to the next question. By the way, if you want me to answer your question, if you want to help with the super chat, it's more than welcome. It will help the channel, so consider that, and we'll deal with that if we get any. Right, next question is men on a mission. Right, my computer won't turn on when I have my GPU plugged in. Before it all works fine, but now it won't. Please help me. Alright, if you've been a fan of the channel, you know that we insist that to have some common sense, you have to ask the relevant question in its full detail. You have to give details. This question is so vague, I don't even know what to respond, and we dealt with it last time. We dealt with it in the skit. You're going to see it again later. What do you mean by your computer won't turn on? Do you mean there's no power at all? I'm guessing not, because you're saying that when your GPU is plugged in. So what does it mean? No power, or there is power but there is no post, or you're getting post but no display? See, it's not clear. Now, from what I can guess, this is an educated guess, but this has a lot of information missing. You're saying the GPU is an issue. So if you have power and post, you should be testing the GPU separately. If you have power and no post, you still should be testing the GPU separately. Go to the GPU section of this series, and please try to ask a question with a lot more details so we can help you. All right? Goodie. Next question comes from, well, it's more of a comment, Pry Copin. Okay, thanks for posting the tutorial. New case defective switch. Should have tested motherboard and other components before installation, would have saved a lot of hassle. You're right on, bro. There's a lot of people make this mistake. It can happen to anyone. You're in a hurry to get the build done. You don't test the motherboard outside of the case before you put it in. You don't do the simple post, which takes a few seconds. It would save you weeks of troubleshoot issues sometimes. Please always do this. It's worth it. All right. Okay, next question from Prasant Gary. I have a problem when I'm switching on the power button of my laptop. No LED lights are being on and the fan is not spinning while put to charging also. Okay, so you're asking about a problem with a laptop. This is not to do with laptop, this series, but the principle is the same. So number one, you're saying that there is no power, okay? Now it could be your charger adapter, right, to the laptop, or it could be the motherboard power module on the laptop. So the first thing you should be doing is testing the charger. I've done the videos on the channel how to test a charger with a multimeter, and in 90% of the cases, if you get AC voltage and DC voltage into the charger adapter, then it would be a problem on your motherboard. Sometimes if the charger adapter does still give you DC voltage but it's still not working, it could be the amp that's a problem on the adapter, and that has a lot more higher level technique to troubleshoot, which we haven't done yet on the channel. So in that case, I would say if you could just probably swap the charger adapter with another one to check. Now, if you can eliminate the charger adapter, then you can move on to the motherboard. And the only one we did for laptops at the moment is to test whether DC voltage comes onto the power module on the laptop. We did not go further because it's quite complicated. So please, again, be more specific with your question. Yes, class issues, you're right, very, very vague. Correct. Could be an older motherboard with newer GPU and BIOS doesn't support it. That's true as well. It could be that. But again, they did not mention whether they're getting post or not. It could be many things. You're absolutely right, class issues, and I hope you can help with clarifying how people should be asking questions. Thank you so much for commenting. Next, we've got nice video from Mr. Reaper 27. Nice video. I always end up on motherboard malfunction or dead on me. Okay, it's not a question, more of a comment, and I'm so sorry to hear that. But do you mean that every motherboard you've tried and you've used ends up dying? Maybe it's not the motherboard, it's you. I don't know. But yeah. But I would be curious to know, how did you conclude that the motherboard is the problem? Did the series help you? Did you do your own test? Get in touch with me and let me know. I'd like to have you on the channel if you know how to troubleshoot these things. Okay. Right. Next is from Xbox Gaming Ion Eagle 777. Why? 778 was taken. Nice one. Okay. With having a short with a screw that mounts the motherboard to the case, couldn't you just use non-conductive thin spaces between the motherboard and the screw when attaching it to the case? Wow, really, really good question. This is a technical question, and I like how you think out of the box, okay? Now, I'm not an engineer, I'm not an electronics qualified engineer, so we might need to double check on this. However, my basic understanding of electricity and electrons and basic physics, if you're using a non-conductive component between the screw, between the standoff and the motherboard or the screw, what you're essentially doing is you are disconnecting electrons to go from the motherboard through the case and into earth, because this is an important aspect of keeping electrical appliance safe, discharging the electrons. I'm guessing the engineering part of computing, this is why they have chosen to use metallic motherboard, because they're keeping the current flow and the electrons flow in one single kind of discharge pattern. So yes, it has to be properly negatively discharged into earth. This is why we try to earth those appliances. Okay, that's my theory. It's an educated guess. If anyone is an electronics expert here, please try to confirm this. I would guess that's why manufacturers for motherboards and computers generally do this. I hope that kind of makes sense, but I can stand to be corrected if someone a lot more savvy can educate us on this one. Okay, I need some agua. I will be back in like a few seconds. Water, you can't beat water, yeah? Seriously? Yeah? Okay. Next question. Okay, no, sorry, it's a comment from Adomas Kalasnikovas. I'm sorry about the name pronouncing, yeah? Oh my god, thanks dude, that tip for holding down the power button for 30 seconds actually worked. You are so right. I would like to venture maybe it's 50% of the time it does work. because there's always buildup of static electricity in any device, and that does wonders. This is brilliant, saves you lots of money for repair. Okay, next question from Rio Aditya. Help, my monitor won't start when I add a new RAM, but when I unplug the RAM, it worked just fine. My system is DDR3. Help, I want to upgrade my PC. All right, Rio. So first of all, it seems that you've got a RAM problem. So what have you done to troubleshoot the RAM issue? You know, you need to be doing memory tests, you know, like RAM, or what is it called, MEM86 tests. You need to be plugging that RAM in a different slot. You need to take that RAM, put it in a different motherboard completely. And you also need to take a different RAM that is known to be working and put into your motherboard. But from what you say, when you remove it, then it works. So the more important question probably is, how do you know that that RAM that you bought is actually compatible with your motherboard? Since it's DDR3, it's not this issue that we used to have with DDR2 modules, whereby sometimes NVIDIA and AMD platforms would not be cross-compatible for the RAM. I'm hoping it's not this. However, it could be an issue that you've got maybe, I don't know, server RAM on a non-server motherboard, or you've got a RAM which is not compatible. So it looks like you have to do some tests, and then I'm hoping that if you bought it new, you have warranty. If the RAM is defective, you need to bring it back. So yeah, probably the easiest thing to do is get yourself another system which does support that RAM and put it in there. If it works there, it means that RAM is just not compatible with your system. But again, do a MEM86 test. If anyone knows any other, you know, troubleshoot and fix for this, let us know. All right. Next question from Isaac Gonzalez. Okay, switch the RAM slot. Not, I have zero power going into the computer. I think you mean now I have zero power. Okay. Again, RAM issue. If you've switched the RAM slot, why did you switch the RAM slot in the first place? It looks like either your RAM is defective or the RAM slot is defective. Again, take that RAM, put in a different system, or bring a non-working RAM, put in that slot. Or even check the motherboard configuration of your RAM. Are you absolutely doing what the motherboard says? And we have a comment here from Abo M7TRAF. I love you, man. You're the best. Keep going. Thank you so much, Abo. Thanks for the support. Why am I the best again? I want to know. All right. Okay. Next question from Mr. Maimon. Where is the scenario 2 problem solutions? Please help me. I'm guessing you're referring to the case where you have power coming into the motherboard. You can see LED lights, fan spinning, but it's not turning on, or it's booting in a loop constantly, restarting. Again, what test have you done? You haven't told me. But for these kind of things, if you have done the power supply test and you've done some reseating and stuff, unfortunately, like I've said in the video, if you do not remove that motherboard and breadboard it and then disconnect almost everything and keep the minimum devices you need for a post test, you won't be able to tell whether it's being caused by your case, or like a connection problem with a debris, or even you know, power issue and stuff. So if you've done the basic test, you have to breadboard the whole thing to eliminate one component at a time. All right, next question we have from Bon Louise Bacon. Okay, please help, my laptop turning on, but it keeps restarting after Windows logo. I try to format it, but the same problem occurs after Windows loading file, Windows logo appear, then restart. All right. So from your question, it appears that you are getting paused, which means your issue looks like it's from the hard drive or the operating system, or could be both. And those, I think we dealt with part number 9 and 10 in the series. So go watch those videos to troubleshoot. However, since you said you've formatted it, but the same problem occurs, now there is a possibility that whatever you used to format, if it was the inbuilt company formatting system, then it could be that your problem is the hard drive. So you need to test for the hard drive. One very easy troubleshoot for this type of stuff is I love to use a Linux USB live installation drive to test, because that eliminates hard drive and operating system issue, just to test for you all your other components. But yeah, I would say you need to go to part number 9 and number 10. First, test your hard drive. It could be that. Then you're going to have to maybe try, if your hard drive is working, then you're gonna have to try a different operating system and test there. Sometimes with these things, it could be the bootloader is damaged, and repairing the bootloader can help. But like I mentioned in part 10, sometimes, especially with Windows, there is no other option. That's one of the problems with Windows. You can do all the troubleshoot, but at the end of the day, you have to completely wipe, not just a reformat, but complete wipe the drive if the drive is still working, and reinstall another version of Windows, unfortunately. But do the test so you can eliminate them, okay? And right. Next question, Sweaty Noob. Oh, holy crap. That's a brilliant name. Sweaty Noob. Okay. Please reply, mine mobile LED turns orange, no fan spinning until I press the fan checker on my PSU. My PC is from Dell, my PSU working. Okay, so your motherboard LED turns orange, right? You got orange light. No fan spinning until you press the fan checker. So when you press the fan checker, so that just spins the fan, but I'm guessing your computer is not turning on. All right, so you say your PSU is working. So question number 1, how do you know your PSU is working? And if it is working, as in turning on, how do you know it's delivering the correct voltage to your motherboard? You have to do those tests. Have you swapped that PSU for a different one? Because your one seems to be a problem with power, most likely. If I were you, I would get a non-working PSU to test this one, and I would also, if that doesn't work, do all the necessary stuff, resetting RAM, unplugging, replugging stuff, also hard reset, and also consider, if nothing else works, breadboarding the whole bad boy to see if you get posts outside of the case. It could be your case. Again, do those tests, let us know what you've done. Okay, next question from I'm a player YOLO. Nice one. I click the power button and it loads up to a screen saying USB over current. I've tried everything and I'm literally going crazy. None of my USBs look damaged, and I've also unplugged everything on the motherboard and it didn't help. And I also did a CMOS reset, took out the battery for a minute but didn't do much. Any idea? None of the pins look damaged either. Okay. So this we did very long time ago, a USB problem. Yeah, it could be one of the USB which connects your front panel to the motherboard, and that could be damaged, causing the motherboard not to initialize and turning on. But as in that video, we had some questions about what if all the USB ports on the front look okay? What if it's a problem with the USB at the back, which could be true. Unfortunately, if that's the case, if you're still getting this message, it's most likely that one of the back USB ports is damaged, and that is preventing your motherboard to complete its boot process, its post process. Unfortunately, not a lot you can do, because this is extremely difficult to repair. You have to literally be an electronics engineer to replace that, and even then it may not even be worth doing. My advice to you is, like, at this point you're probably looking at replacing the motherboard. I'm not too sure what to say to you, because there's no way, these are not even worth considering unless you have no other option. But even finding someone to repair that for you is going to be costly, and good luck on that. But unfortunately, I mean, of course we can always test it. If you can get it to me, I can do some further tests on it, but right now I can't do anything because it's just a theory. Let me know how it goes. Right, Dwight Shackleford, and that's the last question for today from the video, and after this we'll do the next 2 parts, okay? Got an odd situation. I put the mobile in the case, it doesn't work. Turn the power on, momentary light on the mobile, short turn of the fans, then stops. I remove the mobile from the case, let it sit for a while, still doesn't work. Remove all the cables from the mobile that is outside of the case, let it sit for a while, 30 minutes maybe, reattach the cables, it works. Put it in the case again, it doesn't work. All standoffs have an associated screw into them, no extra standoffs ideas. Alright. Thank you. This is a lot more precise. I like this kind of question. It looks like you've done the right thing by breadboarding and testing outside. So what you have concluded is that when it's outside of the case, and after you let it sit for a while, it is turning on after you replug the cables outside of the case. What that is suggesting, one of 2 scenarios, there is most probably something in your case. It could be not just a case, it could be a device connected to the case, like front panel ports, could be anything that's causing a short, right, and preventing your motherboard from turning on. But also what it could mean, because you're giving it some time to sit, that is essentially maybe discharging static electricity, and when you're reconnecting, it's working. So what I would do in your situation is definitely I would make sure that outside of the case I would continue to do post test, right? But I would also try to, after each successful post test, I would try to connect a device that you normally use with the motherboard and inside the case, apart from the case. Then what I would do is I would try to get a different case and put that motherboard, if it's still getting successful post, into that other case. Because if you do this and it's still working, it means there's a problem on your case. Maybe visually you can't see, but it's not properly grounded, and that could be an issue. Okay, so hopefully you might try this and let me know how it goes. All right. And that was answering the questions from that video, part 1 about the case. Boy, it's hard to talk. Gets tired and thirsty. Okay, do we have any question on the motherboard aspect? Because in the next live stream, which is next Thursday, same time, 5 p.m., let your friends know, share this. We will be dealing with the next part 2 is, I believe, is going to be the power supply. And that is an interesting one because that is the main cause for most problems with computers, restarting, not turning on, etc. All right. So before I take your specific questions, if there's any, I'm going to play you a little skit. It is really cringy. We did it 2 years ago to try and explain to people how not to ask questions. Please forgive me. In there's this young chap, who was in a different video as well. Maher, if you're watching, hi to you. I haven't seen him for a couple of years now, so I hope he's doing okay. I hope you're doing okay. So I'll be back after this. This is only 4 minutes 47 seconds. Okay, so let's just play this.
Online, and it's still under warranty. I bought this in October 2014.
This video isn't even helping me solve my problem. Maybe I should just comment about it and then he'll be able to help me. That should do it.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Whoa! Where did you come from? Wait, aren't you Ash from Your Tech?
Yes, I am, and thank you for asking. Wait, aren't you the guy whose forehead looks like a 40-year-old man's cheek? And never mind where I come from. Now what matters is that comment you just posted is almost impossible for me to respond to.
But why is my comment so hard to answer?
Aha, finally, the right question, and I'm glad you asked. Let me school you. So if you think a comment like that is enough for me to help you fix the problem, then you're completely clueless as to what troubleshooting anything really is. One symptom, for example, something not turning on, can have various causes. And we've seen in the video of the dead computer, the issue in that was that the power supply was dead, right? However, there could be other problems. Cable could be loose, the thing could not be turned on or even plugged in, or the switch could be broken in the front. Take this recent video I did on the Hoover, which wasn't turning on, and the fix was we changed the plug because the cable was broken. Right, the fix took me 5 minutes to do and cost less than £1. But the troubleshooting, the whole process, took my friend Alvin from the previous video about the high costs of tech and myself, who was assisting, over 1 hour to troubleshoot, to actually find that that was the cause. We went through a series of troubleshooting issues. Yeah, he's a retired electronics technician, so that goes to show it's not always very simple, not very straightforward. Now that question you just asked me, oh, my computer is still not turning on, help me please. You haven't told me anything, no details. I don't know what your configuration is, whether it's still a laptop or a desktop. You haven't told me what you've tried in the video or what else you've tried. You haven't explained what do you see when you do certain things, like when you press the power button on, nothing. So just based on this one-liner, I can't help you. I'm sorry. Now take this other question, and I've blurred the name out of respect for confidentiality, although it's on a public platform, and I'm not picking on you if you're watching this. I'm just giving this as an example because there's hundreds more examples similar to this. And I'm going to read it off. It says, very good explanation. I have tried, but I'm unable to reset my HP back to factory, seeing it is on strike. Can you help me? Right, few problems with this. Problem 1, grammar issue. I think it's probably a typo error, but the person who wrote it probably did not check what they wrote, so it's not making any sense. I don't even understand the question from the grammatical point of view. Problem number 2, no details about the actual computer. Is it a laptop? Is it a desktop? All he's told me was it's a HP. There's no make and no model and no other details whatsoever. Problem number 3, he says, I have tried. I am unclear what you have tried. I am unclear if you've tried the steps in the video or you've tried other things because you haven't told me anything. And I'm also unclear that when you've tried, what result did you get? What was the diagnostic or troubleshooting result that you obtained? And last but not least, there may be more. Problem number 4 is this. This question is probably out of context for that video because in that video we were checking for a desktop which was not turning on and the problem was testing for the power supply. Whereas he is trying to ask me that he tried to reset his HP and that video did not touch on the resetting topic at all. We couldn't even turn it on, so there's no point to consider resetting at this stage. This problem is not unique to YouTube. If you browse forums for tech support or any other kind of forums, you will see often someone is asking a question, but they're so vague that people keep reminding them, look, you haven't given your configuration, you need to tell us what Windows you're using. If you're using Windows at all, what have you tried? Don't just say things like it's broken, it doesn't work, help me, it's blank, etc. That's not helpful. Alright, so now that you know that you should be giving more details, will you be able to write me a much better question than this so I can help you fix your problem? Yeah? Good stuff. Hey, Mr. Oron, did you say your computer is still not turning on?
Yeah, why?
Because that cable you just plugged in, that's for the toaster, you muppet.
Alright, okay. Take it easy, right? Thank you so much. Classy shoes, Oscar nomination. You make me dream, man. Okay, okay. So, well, I know, it's quite cringy. We have to update this. Guys, if one of you want to come and collaborate with me to do a much better skit, we'll make it cinematographic. We'll probably get a good story out of it. Please feel free, hit me up, if you want to be featuring on the channel. Okay, so I need your help in 2 things. No, actually in 3 things. Number 1, please help me to educate our viewers how to ask questions. I'm sure you get the concept, yeah? Even if you go on more technical forums or on official, forums, even if you're trying to return a product to one of the companies, you have a series of mandatory questions you have to fill in to be able to even get an RMA. And that is important for very obvious reasons. Some people don't seem to understand this. I don't know what it is. Maybe some people think they don't want to ask a long series of questions because the person may not even respond, like a YouTuber, maybe, I don't know. But in our case, what we're trying to do, and that's where you need to tell me in the second part, every week, like I said, we are going to first complete the troubleshoot series for the desktop, and I'm going to go through each component. Next week is going to be the power supply. Can you please get in touch with me if you have any troubleshoot skills, and we could potentially do this as a collaboration live, so you could help with your own input and we could help people answer the questions. But the even more important help that you should be doing for me, if you can please educate these viewers, become moderators on the channel for the comments. We can get in touch with me, and essentially I'm saying this, look guys, if you are going to ask me questions, technical questions, please make it full, make it accurate, make it complete. Don't make me ask you 10 questions to understand your 1 question. And we are going to try to look for a solution where you can maybe hand in or send me your video, and a full series will try to do some sort of pre-formatted questionnaire, so you fill in the details, so we need to know what the problem is so we can answer you. What I'm going to do after this series, I'm going to start ignoring those one-liners. Okay, we're going to keep this live Q&A every week for those issues, and by then hopefully more and more people will know how to ask questions. We're more than willing to help you, but you got to ask the questions the right way. All right, let me take some questions now. Amir Dakani, how has your day been? Thank you so much for asking, Amir. How's your day? My day has been very busy. Today, this week is Thursday, and it's only today that I'm doing a live session for this week. I've also just recorded a video about lighting for video, which I'm going to be uploading tomorrow, hopefully. And I need to do a third one because for the rest of the week, I am not able to do any other videos. I've got family issues. Because I'm trying to be consistent on the channel, about 3 videos per week. The channel's not doing well. If I'm not consistent, it's going to go down again. So hopefully this year we're trying to make changes. There are changes coming up. So thank you so much for asking. Tell me how your day has been. Okay. Jupiter, do you know anything about the new NVIDIA GPU? Unfortunately, no, I haven't checked it yet. I need to do that. I only know about the latest AMD RX 5600 XT, which there was some issue with optimization. I think AMD fixed it, but I need to check for the NVIDIA one. Yeah, no, sorry, I haven't checked the 3080 and 3070. No, unfortunately, no. But as it is, there's always new tech, better tech, latest, and not always greatest. But my personal approach to this is I'm not always a big fan of new tech because it's side grades and not upgrades most of the time. But if you need the tech, you need the tech, yeah? The best tech for you is whatever does the job the most efficiently, whether it's old or new. But in terms of chasing all the time the newest and latest because it's just new, that's not me. I don't encourage it. This is pure consumerism. Okay. Amir, okay. Can you help me? Sorry, Super Zero. Can you help me? I got a tough B450 plus motherboard equipped with Ryzen 7 2700. What's the issue, Super Zizo? Let us know and be precise. If not here, you can send me an email. You can find my details in the homepage. Okay. Classic shoes, Mustafa. Welcome salam. Super Zero. Screen says no signal. Okay. Super Zizo. Again, if you follow this video and if you've been following the channel, you're just saying screen says no signal. See, that's not good enough. Are you getting post or are you not getting post? If you're getting post, then it's just a monitor or cable issue. If you're not getting post, you need to be doing tests for post first, okay? Let us know. He knows. Just bought a 2070 Super. Alhamdulillah, so happy with it. Fantastic. 2070, I mean, that's relatively new. 2070 is a very good GPU. If I was going to buy an NVIDIA, I'll tell you which one I would buy. You might be surprised. I think, in my opinion, to date, the best value, like in the high range GPU, was the 1080 Ti. And if I find my hands on that, I'm going to get that because there's a point of diminishing return after, even the 2080. The 2080 is really good. I'm talking performance, price to performance ratio, especially now if you can get a used one for decent. Brilliant. Okay, right. It's not coming until June or July or even October. Okay, thank God for that. I thought I was really out of the of the news for this. So yeah, fine. We'll check it out when it comes out. Okay, now if there's no other question to this, the last thing I need your help with, can you please tell me why did you subscribe to the channel if you've subscribed? Because there's a huge discrepancy in my subscriber numbers and the daily watch views, time average, and all this nonsense. Some people have told me they're not getting notifications, which is a problem from YouTube. We know that. But what I'm more interested in, I want to know why you subscribe to the channel, because I know that over the years I've kept most of the content about tech. However, I did not just do computers. I also did some domestic appliances, sometimes some filming equipment, but not a lot. Maybe one mistake I'm doing is I'm doing too many subtopics. I'm not sure. And I know a lot of you want to do gaming content, as in how to build gaming PCs, which we hopefully can do from this year. But specifically, I want to know, if I did not do just computer stuff, if I did other tech stuff, would you still be interested to watch, or are you here mostly for computers, gaming PC builds, you know, those kind of troubleshoot issues, and maybe moving on how to optimize all this stuff. Let me know. I would love to know your thoughts, because it's quite difficult to compete with bigger channels and on the newest stuff. We're not that huge. We don't get all the latest equipment, and I don't want to neither. It's too much consumerism. So please let me know. Let me know in the comments, or just get in touch with me. I'd love to know. And last but not least, please, if you want to hit me up for a collaboration, I am always looking for people. If you have a story to share, especially to do with tech, if it is going to benefit our audience, hit me up. I'll have you on the channel. I'm open to suggestions. Quite easy to work with. I'm trying to revamp the channel this year. Hopefully you'll stay with. So please share my content. And also, I would like one more thing, please. Yeah. Can you please give me constructive criticism about the content, because my average watch time is not very good. I'm probably losing subscribers and people clicking off because maybe the content structure needs change. I am going to welcome constructive criticism. I do want to, you know, talk less and get to the point, but I need a lot more specific feedback. What do you want to see in videos? How can I improve it? Is it too long? Is it too short? Do I talk too much? Not enough B-roll? Is the production quality terrible? The audio, whatever it is, let me know. I'm here to try and improve the content as much as possible. Okay. Amir Dakani, I'm a simple man. I see Linux, I click subscribe. Brilliant. Oh, which reminds me, my Linux is ready to go. I'm really scared to move daily as a content creator, because I've tried a few things for my camera and stuff. There's some things that not working properly as a content creator, but as a general user, even as a gamer, it's much better than it was before. Okay. Need to be more stylish, the thumbnails. Okay. So the thumbnails are not that interesting to click. Okay, thank you for that. That's really interesting, because yeah, I've been reading up on click-through rate is directly related to the thumbnails. I'll be honest with you, I am very, very bad at making thumbnails. So if you have some suggestions, what can I do to improve, let me know. I will keep working on this. You're right though, the thumbnails, they're not great. My click-through rate is an example of why they're not great. So thank you so much. I love this, guys. Give me those kind of comments, and I would love to work on them. But even better, if you're good at thumbnails, yeah, please get in touch with me. Maybe you can send me some example of thumbnails, or do the thumbnails for me. If you do the thumbnails for me, maybe I can do something for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let me know. Okay, right. So I'm going to take my leave. It was really, really nice seeing you here. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, every week, Thursday, 5 p.m. UK, which is 12 p.m. EST. If you have questions, please ask very, very clearly. I will not answer you on social media. I don't go there. Just ask me on YouTube. If you want to feature, get in touch with me. If you want to collaborate, get in touch with me. Share this. Let people know we're trying to help everyone to, you know, repair and fix and troubleshoot their computers. Last question from Musa. What kind of games do you play? Man, you haven't seen my videos, have you? I've stopped playing games. The last game I played was Tomb Raider, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, because I was sick for a month. I don't have time to play. I would love, but my library, Steam library, has now close to 100 games, and my kids benefit from it. But I prefer games like Metal Gear series, Tomb Raider, Hitman, those kind of games. I prefer those. I've not really gone into FPS. I used to play football a lot. Dragon Ball Z series also, quite like them. But lately, I'll be honest with you, I haven't got time, and I would like to get back into this. Hopefully, if we do a lot more gaming builds, I will get into gaming again. Division, yeah, I would love. I've got Division, but I haven't played it. Silly me. And I've got all the gaming gear that I need. Okay, so I'm going to take my leave. Thank you so much for watching. Before you go, consider subscribing, click the bell icon, and also use my Amazon affiliate links in the description below. Next week, don't forget, same time, and there will be a video up here or up here. I think it's going to be up here. If you want to develop your relationship with technology, check this one out. And if you want to learn how to troubleshoot almost anything, including PC troubleshooting and how to become better at Linux for beginners, then check this one out. And I will see you in the next one. This was Ash from HinMyTech, helping you go from newbie to techie. Thank you so much. Peace out.